Alex Márquez leads and Acosta's chances of reaching Q2 become increasingly difficult. Alex Márquez topped the important practice session at Jerez after a fierce contest marked by crashes from Bagnaia and Martin, and Acosta being eliminated from Q2. The MotoGP practice session for the Spanish Grand Prix confirmed that at the Jerez circuit, every detail matters. In the session crucial for direct access to Q2, Alex Márquez handled the pressure in the final stages better than anyone else. He set the fastest time of 1 minute 35.704 and snatched the top position from Fabio Di Giannantonio. The Gresini rider delivered a solid performance, especially during the crucial time attack phase where competition was fierce and the standings kept changing. His lap not only allowed him to lead the session but also cemented his candidacy for fighting for everything at Jerez. Throughout the practice session, Fabio Di Giannantonio once again set the benchmark. The Italian rider, who had dominated in the morning and was the only one to record a lap time under 1 minute 36 seconds, maintained control in the early stages. With track conditions still evolving, he was the first to set a competitive pace and improved his own time, recording 1 minute 36.267 in the final third of the session. His consistency kept him at the front for several minutes, though he ultimately had to yield to Alex Márquez's late attack. Nevertheless, his performance placed him among the top names of the weekend. The practice session was not without incidents, and two of them directly affected riders expected to fight for the top positions. Pecco Bagnaia was involved in one of the most dramatic crashes of the day, falling at the first braking zone just minutes after the session began. The spectacular fall caused severe damage to his Ducati and forced the Italian rider to rebuild his bike from scratch. Jorge Martin also crashed at turn 13, his second fall of the day. Although he was able to return to the pits on his own, the incident once again disrupted his performance in a session that left no room for mistakes. However, both riders managed to recover in the final stages to secure places in the top 10. Beyond the fight for the top position, the session also witnessed a tight battle for direct Q2 qualification. Marco Bezzecchi once again proved his competitiveness, finishing second and confirming Aprilia's strong performance at the Andalusian circuit. Johan Zarco also stood out, coming close to the fastest time and showing significant improvement for Honda. The group also included names like Joan Mir, Luca Marini, and Augura, who delivered one of the most remarkable performances by finishing in the top 5. The diversity of manufacturers at the top reflected a more open competition than usual. Marc Márquez's performance was one of the main highlights of the session. The rider from Cervera spent much of the session in midfield, holding back in the early stages, but when it mattered most, he made his move. In the final minutes, Márquez recorded a time of 1 minute 36.227, which brought him to third place and secured his direct ticket to Q2. It was a strategic performance based on time management and perfectly timed execution. Final top 10: Alex Márquez, Fabio Di Giannantonio, Marco Bezzecchi, Marc Márquez, Augura, Francesco Bagnaia, Raúl Fernández, Fermín Aldiger, Jorge Martin, and Enea Bastianini. The 10 riders who directly qualified for Q2 made it clear that Jerez offers no second chances. MotoGP legend sympathizes with Marc Márquez's struggles in the first 3 rounds. MotoGP legend Niki Duhan expressed sympathy for Marc Márquez, who has struggled to reach the podium in the first 3 rounds of MotoGP 2026. Márquez is still haunted by the trauma of his injury following his crash at the 2025 Indonesian MotoGP. The Spanish rider has not been able to perform at his best in the 3 main races of MotoGP 2026, with his best result being a 4th-place finish at the 2026 Brazilian MotoGP. Despite this, Márquez has shown remarkable resilience by staying in the top 5 of the standings despite failing to finish in the opening round. Duhan, who has personally experienced serious injuries during his MotoGP career, sympathized with Márquez. He praised Márquez's incredible comeback after his 2020 injury, saying, "I can only praise Marc, and I'm not just referring to his recovery from the arm injury in 2020. His unwavering determination to return to the top of MotoGP is truly impressive." He underwent 4 surgeries, switched from Honda to Ducati, competed against a new generation of rivals, and went through seasons where he had no real chance to shine. Yet he never lost his motivation. Even when doubts about his future were more than justified, he made tough decisions, and his performance last year clearly proved he was better than the rest. The 5-time MotoGP world champion believes Márquez has proven his character by returning to the podium last season. Despite Aprilia's current dominance, Duhan feels it is still too early to draw conclusions after just 3 rounds. Every case is different. I can only say that suddenly losing your leadership position and living with pain without forgetting your goal is something extraordinary. 2025 was proof of his character and greatness. I think it's still too early to talk about the title fight and relative hierarchy. The upcoming European rounds could be a turning point for Márquez to re-enter the top competition. Duhan also questioned whether it is Aprilia's progress or Ducati's decline that is more significant, noting that the factory bike cannot keep up with the VR46 team, particularly Fabio Di Giannantonio, and wondering about the direction of the Desmostic's development. The Spanish Moto GP, taking place from April 24-27, 2026, is a golden opportunity for Márquez to return to the podium. He simply needs to regain full fitness, as he has already proven he can win a sprint race in Brazil. He needs peak physical condition to complete the longer distance on Sunday in the main race. Bagnaia reveals concerning issues around Ducati GP26's DNA. Francesco Bagnaia has downplayed the chances of a major performance upgrade for the Ducati at this weekend's Spanish MotoGP, but expects new components to arrive for the post-race test on Monday. For now, it seems we won't be doing much testing during the race weekend, but we will have something for the test. I don't know exactly what, but I just hope it's something that helps us in the direction we need, Bagnaia told Sky Italia. Aprilia's Marco Bezzecchi and Jorge Martin lead the World Championship after the opening rounds outside Europe, with KTM's Pedro Acosta in third. Fabio Di Giannantonio is the best-placed Ducati rider in fourth, ahead of defending champion Marc Márquez, who has scored the manufacturer's only win so far, the sprint race in Brazil. Meanwhile, his teammate and two-time MotoGP champion Bagnaia arrived at Jerez only ninth in the standings. I know my potential very well. I know exactly where I can be. Every time I get the opportunity, I'm always at the front and the results speak for themselves. I've been struggling for 2 years. The same DNA of the GP25 and GP26 doesn't allow me to fully express myself. I always ride very defensively and don't fully trust this bike, and that doesn't let me go fast. Furthermore, my strength, which has always been in braking and entering corners, can no longer be exploited with this bike. I've completely changed my braking system and it's very limiting. I just hope we can continue in the direction we followed until 2024 with the bike that was designed for that. Right now there are other riders complaining about the same thing, and I hope we can try something in this direction at the test, Bagnaia concluded.